All right. What is happening, fellas? We got a decent Thursday night game, Packers Lions
Oh
divisional
yeah,
game. I took the Lions minus 1.5 against the spread. Let me actually check my record
they're on the
against the
road,
spread this
right?
week. Huh? Yeah,
They're on the road.
they are on the
Oh
road. And
wow.
I'm
So
debating taking I was debating taking the Packers just because they're at home and Lambeau's like the environment's like a hard environment to play in. A lot of the sharps are taking the Lions, including our sponsors over at Elite Picks. They put down a 2-unit bet on the Lions as well.
-1.5.
This season, let me check what I am against the spread this season. I'm 30-17 against the spread this
It's
season.
good. It's
Yeah,
good.
in my pick'em league, and I've made like $10 bets on like most of those, not quite every single one, but most of those, because some games I've bet out on over unders instead of the actual spread. But yeah. Anyways, what's going on? Going good. Day's going pretty solid. Can't complain. There's football on, and we have the infamous 14 hours of football on Sunday this week because of the
Oh yeah,
London games, which we have. I
I
love
love
that,
it.
dude. I love 9:30 a.m. Get the first football game of the day going. It's a
Jags
nice
Falcons, man. That's a
yeah,
fucking
dude, I
fun
swear
one,
Jags Falcons is always a London game. Like
dude.
it feels like one of
I
those two teams is playing in London every single
well,
week
I have memories of like Kyle Pitts going ballistic in
against the
London that
Jets.
one day, his breakout game, and I mean the Jags. It always like I think ETN had a big game in London last year too.
Has Pitts scored a touchdown on American soil yet?
I think that's the only touchdown. Wait, no, he has 3 touchdowns in his career.
Okay, so I remember when he scored that touchdown, everyone was like, for a while he didn't score another touchdown. Everyone was like, dude, Pitts hasn't scored a touchdown on American soil, and I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah,
I'll
that's
answer this
joke.
question, and we can get down to the super chat here. One
Yep.
says Kamara, Javonte, Pacheco, Puka, Flowers, Judy need 2 at running back and 1 at flex. So the running backs for me are probably going to be Javonte for sure, but like Pacheco versus Kamara is pretty close. I don't know. Do you have a lenience there? I think I lean Pacheco just given the matchup and the game script that they're going to
Pacheco
have
versus
against the
Kamara.
Jets. They'll probably be able to run the ball pretty well. Plus, I kind of want to just see what Kamara is like before I throw him into my lineup,
Um,
and then I think Puka is clearly the flex for me there.
so I actually have Kamara at RB22 this week, Pacheco at RB25. So I actually have
Okay.
Kamara pretty high up. Reason being is that with how Tony Jones has looked, and I think Kendra Miller will probably still end up working in for the long term of the season, but he hasn't looked good on his own right to begin with. Kamara, the veteran, Jamal Williams banged
Yeah,
up. Like
you
it
know what?
kind of feels
I'd probably take Kamara as well. Now that I think
like
about it,
like
Isaiah
I think if
Pacheco
you,
doesn't have like a big enough workload to really
yeah.
warrant going that high.
And by the way, if you guys did roster Alvin Kamara and he shows like classic Alvin Kamara, has like 7 catches against the Bucks, you're gonna have a nice sell high window, and I will definitely touch upon it on next week's video.
Yeah, because I mean, so for what it's worth, the running back touch and AJ Peck's video is striking yet again because Derrick Henry looks like
Yeah,
he's, maybe not quite the same Derrick Henry. Of course, Austin Eckler suffered an injury. Saquon Barkley was over the touch apex. He suffered an injury. Nick Chubb, of course, we know what happened to him. I will say, like, the hit rate, remember what I talked about? I was like, oh, when the market decides that these running backs are over the hill,
they usually
usually it
are.
hits at about an 85% rate. Well, even pre-suspension, the market had decided that Alvin Kamara was over the hill. So he's the type of guy that is probably not the same player anymore. So like Danny said, if you do get a vintage Alvin Kamara game, you can sell them off of name value and projectable volume, and the same old Alvin Kamara is what people are going to be thinking, and you might be able to rob somebody of, like, let's say Javonte has a great 70% snap share week or something like that. You could easily get somebody like that. Maybe Brees has a
He
good
has
week this
Javante.
week. What's up?
He has
No, I
Javante.
just mean in general, like for people that have
Oh,
Alvin Kamara, like you could probably sell high on Kamara for more of a long-term asset. Who knows? Maybe you can even get up to somebody like
ETN has a
Ramondre
bad game. You can
Stevenson
work up to him.
yeah, or Gibbs or something like that. Yeah, like you
Yeah.
said. Christian comes in here. He says traded Kittle and Robert Woods for Addison. I have Hunter Henry as a replacement for Kittle. Ooh, dude, I would have kept Kittle.
Yeah, that's a little expensive. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I would prefer like straight up Kittle to Addison, to be honest. Robert Woods
Yeah.
isn't really worth much. He's like a waiver ad, but I don't think
And,
Hunter Henry is the type of guy that I want to
yeah.
like rely on week over week. He's like a big time like negative
If
regression candidate
if
from
we
a touchdown perspective.
let's say that's Luke Musgrave instead of Hunter Henry. Like, how do you feel about it?
I would still rather have Kittle. I would trade
So
Musgrave
what's the
instead. Wait for a
threshold
big
then?
Musgrave game, and I
Is
I
the
think
threshold
people
like
overthink
Pitts?
George Kittle, man.
Is the threshold like Pitts? Like if you have Pitts, are you comfortable making this type of maybe not for
I'm
Addison
still
straight up
not.
because you would
I just want Kittle.
okay. Now I'm trying to gauge like if you say have like Kyle Pitts or something, like what would you feel comfortable taking for Kittle if you had both of them?
I want a better receiver than Addison.
Yeah, no, I agree, but I'm saying like what range are you looking like? Maybe like add a little plus and get Christian Watson, or
Yeah,
like what are you leaning
Christian Watson was the first name that just popped into
Yeah,
my mind as well. Ayuk, his own teammate, would be the type of guy that I would want to go after, or his other
yeah,
teammate Debo. Metcalf, Garrett Wilson, maybe somebody like that.
Mari, someone like that.
Yeah, Amari Cooper's probably Mike Evans, somebody like that
Yeah,
would make the
okay,
most sense. But I think Kittle is a positional advantage. Like, how many
yeah,
tight ends can you reasonably say have like, yeah, Kittle's gonna have his bad weeks. Like, people always get on Kittle, like, oh, he's so inconsistent. It's
it's
like
tight
you're a
end.
fucking
We
tight end,
want the
man.
high
Like,
spike
nobody's
upside.
consistent other than Travis Kelce.
Nobody's consistent, and you want a tight end that on any given week can outscore Travis Kelce, which George Kittle is the rare tight end that can. So that's why you got to hold them, and that's why like as bad as it looks, I know we've gotten some comments. People are like, "Well, should we drop Kyle Pitts? Should we drop Kyle Pitts?" Like, no, because yeah, I understand that right now it looks gloomy, but at the same time, if this guy hits, he gives you one of the only ceilings in fantasy that can match the Travis Kelce owner on any given week. And your
Yeah, he was
opportunity
also
cost,
2 feet away from a 70-yard touchdown to kick off
yep,
last week's game too. Like
yep,
he gets the usage. He had 9 targets in that game. Like this Jags game should be potentially a pass heavy game script yet again. The important thing is that Ritter threw 32 and 38 times the last 2 weeks, which means
70,
that
70
Arthur Smith is actually letting this guy throw a little bit more than he was with Mariota. And if Ritter can figure things out, if not, maybe Heineke will be starting games. Then we'll at least get, I'll take 9 to Kyle Pitts targets every single week if I can get it. You give
100%.
me 9 targets for Kyle Pitts, he's going to be a top 5 tight end over the course of the full season. It's just that he's gotten a little bit unlucky with how the balls bounced his way, which is, I mean, the story of Kyle Pitts' life basically is like he's a darling usage wise and can't actually produce fantasy points,
Yep.
but he's a good player.
Peripheral
And Ritter will
darling.
eventually hit on some of these, red zone targets and some of that stuff there.
Peripheral peripheral darling is the best way to call it. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Super chat from Debo. He says, "How did Jorge get that Heat logo next to his name?" And he's referring to the one that's gonna piss you off in a second. The Saints logo.
Oh, I think he just means the members logo.
Oh, got you. I thought he was saying when he got that sick logo and it looked like the Saints logo.
Oh, no. Fuck the Fear to Lead. Like that thing sucks. But no, the members logo, he's a member of the YouTube channel, which for what it's worth, I believe as a member benefit, we promised that we'll skip ahead to your comments. So maybe we should start doing that more often because I kind of forgot that was
it's
one
hard.
of the
It's hard to track in here. So like if we like
just keep that. Well, I mean, you're the super chat guy, so track the member comments as well.
Yeah, sounds good. So we left off here at
Luca here.
Luca.
So 12-man PPR dual flex league. Should I do Ken Walker for Kamara and Zay Flowers? That's pretty decent, honestly.
I would try to trade up,
especially knowing that I think you can then shop Kamara after it.
Right
if it's
now,
a very active league and you can make trades often, I think I'm very willing to do this because I don't really want to hold Kenneth Walker at this point in time. I think his value is pretty high. You can get a guy like Zay Flowers, who's a great buy low right now. And then Kamara, maybe you can shop after. Like, because if this was Javonte and Zay Flowers, would you do this?
That's different.
That's what I mean. I think you could shop Kamara right now for a guy like Javonte Williams, let alone after this week. Maybe you could get Brees.
The thing is I would rather trade up using Ken Walker, given the fact that he's a top 5 running back. And he may be one of the only running backs right now you can tier up to a Tony Pollard, to a Travis Etienne.
That's true, but I will say, if this is the best and only offer you can get for Kenneth Walker, I think at face value, I like this trade.
I seriously question if this is the best offer you have for Kenneth Walker. He's the RB3 right now in fantasy.
Yeah.
Like people, if you throw his name around to the Tony Pollard owner, to the Travis Etienne owner, and you basically just say, hey, listen, do you prefer your running back to Kenneth Walker? And if their answer is, yeah, Kenneth Walker's good, I slightly prefer Etienne or Pollard, your next question is, okay, what would you like in conjunction with Walker if we were to do a 2-for-1 in this instance?
Yeah, that's fair. I don't mind holding out for something better, but I think at face value, I don't think it's an outrageous trade.
Yeah.
Vincent says, "What's up, bros? Appreciate the content as always. Really appreciate that. Need two
Appreciate
wide
that.
receivers, two running backs, and two flexes between DJ or Elijah Moore, Puka Nakua, Thielen, ETN, Javonte, Mostert, Swift, and Zach Moss. So Swift, ETN, those are the running backs.
Oh,
Mostert's probably one of the flexes as well. Puka's one of the wide receivers. Who's
wait,
the other
wait,
wide
you have
receiver
Swift
here?
over Mostert.
Yeah, I would.
Wow, hey. I have Mostert higher. Mostert's in my RB1
the
area.
usage that Swift is getting is absurd right now.
Oh, no question about it. But with the way Miami's running right now, I don't want to sit any of their running backs. So if you want Swift at the RB2 and Mostert in the flex, it's fine. But like the Dolphins are scoring 35, 40 points any single week. And I want access to the running back.
Oh yeah,
that's going to get
they're
goal line touches
literally my
there.
RB9 and RB10 on the week. Like they're pretty close in my ranking. So
fair.
they're pretty close there. But so for me, it's ETN, Mostert, Swift in some order. Puka. The other receiver is who? Thielen, DJ Moore, or Elijah Moore?
Thielen.
Yeah, it probably is Thielen.
It is
Even
Thielen,
if Bryce starts, you still think that?
Yeah, it's Thielen. Just the volume right now is insane. He got 14 targets last week. And the wide receiver room was decimated.
Is Zach Moss the other flex over Javonte? Probably, right?
I go Javonte.
I would.
The matchup is against
go Zach Moss. The usage is absurd.
He's playing the Bears and he's getting 70% of the snaps.
Like I know. I know.
Can't.
It's not 70%. It's like 50%.
65. It's 65. Yeah.
It was 50 this past week.
Okay, but the 2 weeks prior it was 65. But regardless,
yeah, no, he's been good, but I think Zach Moss's workload is just much better right now, and Richardson's back for that game too.
I mean,
and there's a lot of steam on that Rams Colts game to go over as well. I think I would take Moss as the other flex there, and then I would take Musgrave as the tight end. I would start him over Pitts this week.
For reference, I have Javonte at 13 and Moss at 15, so it's not like we're splitting hairs here, regardless. But I just want to I want the player against the Chicago Bears this week, to be honest.
That's fine.
I don't think they can stop a nosebleed.
Yeah. Would you start Musgrave over Pitts? Are you starting Pitts?
I think I have Pitts one spot higher.
I have Musgrave one spot higher. So
I have Pitts at 8, Musgrave he's technically 11 right now, but now that I think about it, I would start him over Goddard and Freiermuth, so he's actually going to be 9.
Yeah, I have Musgrave worried at 8 and Pitts at 9.
Well, so. I will say if you're worried about Pitts, Sunday 9:30 kickoff, London, and you just want to watch the player tonight, they're back to back in my rankings. I don't mind going with Musgrave over him, to be honest.
Yeah, they're neck and neck pretty much.
I mean, at the end of the day, if starting the guy one spot below him saves you from having to wake up at 8:45 or 9, whatever, on a fucking Sunday, and you just want to watch some football, drink a beer tonight, then that's your answer.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think people have that much problem getting up at 9:30 a.m. like you. I mean, if you're on the West Sunday, Coast, maybe it's 6:30 a.m.
Well,
game.
That's
but
so there's your answer. If you're on the West Coast, start Musgrave. If you're on the East Coast, start Pitts.
Yeah, facts. Jared says 0-3. Justin Herbert, Bijan, Hunt, CD, AJ, Ridley, Musgrave could use an RB2. Yeah, Hunt is a pretty bad option there. Offered Ridley, Hunt for Jacobs, half PPR.
You shouldn't have to add on to Ridley.
This is the rest of his hit the rest of his bench, dude. If I were you, I would go after so first of all, Roshan, if he's on your bench, should be in your RB2 slot over Kareem Hunt.
Wait, Roscoe?
I guess I'm assuming that's who Roscoe is.
I assume.
But if I were you, I would probably take Josh Palmer and Roshan and Hunt and see if you can get somebody relatively solidified. Breece Hall.
Get Javonte?
Yeah, those two guys are perfect examples.
ACL
Even
bros.
if you can only get I don't know, who's somebody kind of gross. Even if you could only get
oh shit, go back.
Dameon Pierce with that, I would much prefer that too.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Who are the two you said?
Using Josh Palmer and Roshan Johnson to get Dameon Pierce.
I probably don't even do that, dude.
Really?
I think Roshan.
You hate Dameon Pierce, man.
Well, I think when Roshan gets the RB1 role, which he will get the RB1 role based off
for the Bears.
Yeah, but I mean, is there for Houston right now? He's getting
Houston's playing well, man.
Playing well, but they have a shit offensive line, and he's a 2-down.
Yeah, their offensive line has been hurt, dude. Their offensive line
the Bears
is not
have
healthy
too.
right now, and they're going to get Tunsil coming back too.
I mean, the Bears line's been bad.
Yeah, but the Bears line is bad when it's healthy.
Fair. I think Roshan's just a 3-down running back.
So I think Pierce is a 3-down running back.
He hasn't been used like it.
He wasn't. I think the the Dameon Pierce situation is one of the true like buy lows in fantasy, because I think sometimes it's easy for us to say like, oh, when your idiot league mates are like not paying attention, buy low on Breece Hall or Javonte Williams. But like people understand that Breece Hall and Javonte Williams, if they're sharp, have a lot of upside. With Dameon Pierce, I think legitimate Dameon Pierce truthers are concerned about Dameon Pierce. That's why I think he's a legitimate guy to buy into, because if this Texans offense keeps playing well, that was like the main concern for Dameon Pierce coming into the year.
For E's sake, can we agree on like Ramondre Stevenson? If you can work up to Ramondre.
Oh, yeah. Ramondre would be a great option. Right. He's been really bad, though, this season, which is weird because he was like extremely efficient, highly graded in PFF, elusive as hell last year. And for whatever reason, he's just been like stuck in mud this year.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's averaging like 2.1 yards per carry to start this year.
It's bad. He needs to figure his shit out, or else he's not going to be a workhorse anymore. The reason he won the workhorse job last year over Damian Harris is because he was just good. And they were like, we need to get this guy the ball. But right now, it's like he's not the same player that he was last year. And I'm hoping it's not like, he didn't like stay in shape this offseason or something like that.
It is a little bit concerning because like built in there, like obviously against the Jets, against the Eagles, you expect them to struggle. But I mean, we've seen the Miami front get absolutely blitzed on other occasions this year. Look what Austin Eckler did to them in week 1. So he averaged 3.3 yards.
Josh Kelly looked good in week 1.
He averaged 3.3 yards per carry against that same Miami front that Josh Kelly had.
And he doesn't have an easy matchup this week either because he's playing against the Cowboys. So, then the Saints next week to break some tackles and make some people miss, for fuck's sakes.
And then he plays the Saints next week.
Yeah, like Jesus Christ, man.
But yeah, no, side note aside, let's get into the next question. Apologies there.
Huge dynasty trade. Rose says, good use of draft capital. 12 teams, start 12. So deep starting lineup here. Superflex tight end premium traded away Laporta, Musgrave, 3 2024 firsts, 2 seconds.
5 ones?
And so 5 ones. Got back Garrett Wilson. So we'll break this down like one at a time. Garrett Wilson, TJ Hawkinson, DJ Moore, Brian Robinson, and then like some additional pieces. Okay, so
I'm not gonna lie, I'm not a fan.
I already don't like this trade. I'm going to keep it 100% here, but let's see how close it is to being a good trade. So Garrett Wilson is worth what? All 3 of those first, probably?
Or Laporta and a 25?
Let's keep the tight ends out of it. Let's just use pure draft capital first.
Okay, let's just say Laporta and Hawk cross each other out, which they do currently on the tight end market, by the way.
Yeah, and worst case, you throw in Kmet on the Hawk side to make it even.
Now, does Musgrave and 2 ones for E's sake? I think it easily would, but let's say Musgrave and 2 of those ones. That gets you Garrett.
I think 3 late firsts is equivalent to Garrett Wilson.
Sure, but either way, though. Okay, let's say
we'll throw Sky on that side, too, just to make it even.
Sure, and then it's like DJ, Kmet, B-Rob, and Jimmy.
I'm assuming that's
Musgrave
Daniel Jones.
And 4 firsts.
So Daniel Jones,
I don't
Brian
like it.
Robinson and Jimmy Garoppolo for 2 firsts, 2 2s, and 1 of the tight ends, I think. Or no. Yeah, Musgrave. I don't like this. I think you overpaid here. I think, Ro, you would have been much better off just riding this thing out. It looks like you got a little impatient. You're like, hey, some people are getting injured and I have good assets and I'm just going to move them and try and win, is what it looks like you did, to be honest. And honestly, I would have much rather bought 3 studs when I was trying to win. Like if you got Garrett Wilson, Jamar Chase, and you know what I mean? Like if you're going to get this much capital and this many assets.
Realistically, if you're contending, how many times, let's keep it a buck, how many times are Daniel Jones, Cole Kmet, Sky Moore, Brian Robinson, and Jimmy Garoppolo consistently starting for you?
Yeah, I mean, if Daniel Jones is your QB2, I mean, you could
get
by with that, but you probably need a really strong roster elsewhere. So I mean, if Jimmy G, Daniel Jones, Sky Moore, and Cole Kmet, and Brian Robinson even too are moving the needle that much for you, then your team probably wasn't really close.
But then even if like Laporta for Hawk is, or like Hawk, you would argue is like a win now asset, but Laporta, like I wouldn't be shocked if he outscored him for the rest of the year. So like realistically,
I think both of these guys are really valuable dynasty tight ends. But yeah, Hawkinson versus Laporta and redraft isn't even that far off of a conversation.
So if that's the case, like I would honestly probably say Hawk and a 2 for Laporta, considering that we can make the conversation Laporta might outscore him rest of the season, and he's what, 5-6 years younger?
Yeah, like if this trade doesn't include the 24 seconds and the 25 first, I think it's about even. But even then, I'm like, you gave up a lot of good assets.
Yeah, I agree. So like you probably paid 2 1s and 2 2s too much, realistically.
Yeah, I would say you paid at least a 1 and a 2 over.
At least. Yeah.
And that's assuming
Yep.
you like love Sky Moore and Daniel Jones and shit. But
Sorry,
yeah, I think you were way too impatient here.
Yeah.
If I'm gonna keep it a buck.
Appreciate the super chat. Sorry for like ripping on you, but at the end of the day, man, like we're gonna be honest to you guys because we want you guys to like keep improving the process, keep getting getting experience, understanding like what we feel on certain stuff, and like we're not gonna lie to you, man. So hopefully, just moving forward, you're a little bit more diligent with the draft capital. But I think we move on.
I would
to
have
the
just
next
rode that one out, man. You could have
Same.
built out a pretty strong looking
Monster.
team there.
Especially with how the 2024 late picks are actually looking now, man. Like you could be looking at the RB3 or RB4 in the class at that point. And that could be like a second round pick.
You could get a first round quarterback with that pick potentially.
Might be able to get like JJ McCarthy or Michael Penix at the end of the first round.
Yeah, I bet you'll be able to get
goes
Penix
first.
at the end of the first round for sure.
So Penix probably going top 10, man. Like Washington's going to be probably the second or third ranked team in the country soon enough with how their offense is playing. I'm going to be honest there, man.
Texas.
I think they could pass Michigan and Texas, dude. Like their offense looks that good right
they've
now.
been really good.
Like I would argue right now that the two best offenses in the country are them and USC.
Yeah.
Like they're averaging
crazy.
like 55 a game, man.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Anders says trade Jahmyr Gibbs for Garrett Wilson and Christian Watson. Yeah, I would probably do that.
Yeah, that's too much value.
Yeah, that's two. Those are two really solidified wide receiver twos for me rest of the season. So yeah, I would do that, assuming you could afford to lose a running back. Trojan says, "What up, guys? J Love or Richardson this week? I'll take Anthony Richardson for sure. For what it's worth, if you guys intend on like betting on this game or you're just wondering for like start sit decisions and you didn't catch the matchups that matter video, the Sharps, this game is a 46-point over-under, which is good, but the Sharps are kind of hammering the under right now. They don't expect this to be a massively high-scoring game. And for some reason, I think Thursday nights are always just like wonky games in general. And I think it doesn't really make logical sense when you think about it. You're like, oh, the Packers offense has been pretty good even without Aaron Jones and even without Christian Watson. But I think they might disrupt the chemistry of the offense a little bit, adding those new guys back in. So it's possible that they don't look quite the same. Because obviously those are the two best players on the offense. You would assume they would be much better with them. But I do think they might struggle a little bit to move the ball. And Jared Goff and the Lions will probably just run the ball a ton. And this game is not expected to be very fast paced between the two offenses. So, I like Richardson there.
Real quick, by the way, I just saw because Ron messaged in our chat for the FFPC lineup, and I just realized literally, other than Kyle Pitts and Cleveland defense, we have all and the Swift, DeAndre Swift. We have all Bengals and all Bengals and all Miami, all Bengals and Dolphins.
Oh, is that our whole lineup? Oh, because we have Raheem Mostert and Devon Achane and Jamar Chase and T. Higgins and
Joe Burrow.
And Joe Burrow
and McPherson. Yeah.
That's wild.
I had to point that out, but
our team, I mean, two pretty good. Once Cincinnati figures their shit out, I'll take a high investment in those two offenses.
Dude, our team's low key loaded, man. I'm not gonna cap. Like right now, we have JT slated on the bench, but if we have Elijah Moore on the bench,
if we get Jonathan Taylor walking into what Zach Moss is doing right now, like assuming that's just what happens in week 5, then Jonathan Taylor to go along with our DeAndre Swift, Raheem Mostert, Devon Achane is going to be pretty good for sure at running back, knowing that we have Chase, Waddle, and Higgins as our top receivers, and Burrow as our quarterback, and Pitts as our tight end if he can get his shit together too.
For sure. Should I insert Aaron Jones in my lineup for RB1? I have Etienne, Kamara, and Zach Moss to fill for RB2 in a flex.
No, I wouldn't. I would set Aaron Jones this week.
I think you
have better options.
I'd start him over Kamara.
That's close, but I'm a little nervous knowing that he's coming off of like a multi-week absence.
I know he could have played last week though, but they were cautious, so I'm assuming he's probably on the healthier side right now.
That they're literally back to back in my rankings. For sure, I never thought I would say this. For sure, I would start Zach Moss over Aaron Jones, and ETN as well. But Kamara
I would go with
Jones is a conversation for me. If you want to, like, both of them are actually coming off of multi-week absences. So, and Kamara has the worst matchup against the Tampa Bay Bucks. So
he's also probably more washed.
Going Aaron Jones there if you want, but it's close.
Also worth reference, the last time we saw Kamara, he wasn't even that good. Whereas at least the last
Aaron
time we
Jones
saw
is good. And it's wild too, because the whole like Aaron Jones treatment, like how he gets used by Matt LaFleur, is what Kamara started his career like. And maybe if Kamara had kept up that usage, he would still be very good because he wouldn't have all these touches under his belt. And I think that's why Aaron Jones is still like the best old running back in the league, is because he's never had a season of over like 275 touches.
Well, that's why I think I know we talked about this off stream, but that's why I think like a guy like Tony Pollard can age gracefully even if he leaves Dallas, is because the
I
early
kind of hope Bijan keeps getting used how he's being used right now.
low
Give
key.
me like 7 years of productive Bijan Robinson.
Rank, please, just did a trade, gave up Kittle, Ridley, and Sutton for Jettas. Right off the bat, anytime you get Jettas, I'm gonna be happy with it. Like Kittle and Ridley and Sutton is like a decent package to give up, but seeing from the rest of your team, you're loaded from a depth standpoint. Go and get Justin Jefferson, which you did. You have Jettas, you have fucking Amon-Ra St. Brown, Bijan Robinson, Joe Burrow once he gets his shit under bell, Kenneth Walker right now. Like, yeah, I love the move there. I love it.
Maybe even try and sell on Darren Waller, name value. Maybe see if you can go get Sam Laporta, Kyle Pitts, somebody on the cheap.
Yep.
I'm a little worried about Darren Waller, so I would potentially try and sell him. But other than that, I think face value, Ridley and Kittle are good, positional advantages, guys that move the needle. But Jefferson's just simply built different.
Yep. Dylan says, should I start Love tonight or wait for Watson? Thank you. I actually have them relatively close to my rankings right now, to be honest. I have Deshaun
I would probably
Watson.
start Deshaun tonight, I think, or Deshaun this weekend against.
For reference, I have Deshaun at 12 and I have Jordan Love at 17.
Yeah, I have. I actually have Love ranked higher, but he's playing the Ravens, Deshaun Watson, which is not a great matchup. He did look a lot better last week.
That's why
I am really encouraged with what I saw. People are kind of shrugging it off. Like, I know it's popular to hate on Deshaun Watson. Like, nobody fucking thinks this guy's a good person. Let me get that straight. But like, Deshaun Watson looked like marginally better last week. Like, it wasn't like just a little bit. Like, he looked a lot better, substantially better. I think I used the wrong adjective, but
yeah,
he looked a lot better. So if he's going to keep looking like that, he's matchup proof, because Elijah Moore looked pretty good. Amari Cooper had a great game. David Njoku maybe can get involved in this offense. Jerome Ford did a pretty good job filling in for Chubb. So I think Watson's, just generally speaking, a much better quarterback than Jordan Love. So I would wait for Watson.
Yep. Same. Let's try to run through these. Trade King Henry and Higgins for Waddle and Kyron Williams. Can you trade King Henry and any different other package? Because I do not want to be acquiring Kyron Williams right now.
Yeah, dude, maybe we're just like Kyron Williams haters, but like I
don't want to deal with it, man.
Put him in the category of like he's a stud asset that you want to acquire. You know what I mean? Like, even if he is great the rest of the season and we get like a rookie year James Robinson type of year out of this guy, I still am like, I'm not going to believe it until the season's over. Like, maybe I miss out on it because of it. But like, I would just much rather trade Kyron Williams for anybody who's ranked similarly, who has a longer track record of doing this, who's not 195 pounds.
And who's not a very inefficient runner right now. That's
who's not running a 4.7.
At the end of the day, people are going to say he's getting the opportunity right now and he's getting all the snaps and this and that. He's like the RB5 or whatever the fuck he is in fantasy right now. And I get it. Like, straight up, I understand it. Volume is king. But at the same time, if you can tell me what Kyron Williams' workload is going to be 6 weeks from now, if he keeps this workload or if he keeps this efficiency up, you're lying to me and you're lying to yourself. Because as we know, if someone's historically inefficient when running the football, they're not guaranteed that workload moving forward. Like, if he keeps running the ball the way he has been, I mean, he's also been an historically inefficient receiver as well. Like, last week alone, I think he had 9 targets and had like fucking like 25 receiving yards or some bullshit like that. Like, if he's going to be that inefficient, who's stopping them from going out and getting Jonathan Taylor, from signing Leonard Fournette, from getting really anybody else to compete with him for touches? Zach Evans, for fuck's sakes.
Yeah. For some reason, I'm just looking at my sleeper app because for some reason Kenneth Gainwell has like an 11-point projection this week, and I don't know why.
Yeah,
he has like almost the same point projection that Ramondre Stevenson has.
Who?
Like, what are we doing here? Like, why is Kenneth Gainwell projected for so many points?
Yeah, that's wild.
Aaron Jones tonight or Javonte Williams? They are literally back to back in my rankings. I think I lean Williams, just given tiebreaker, Aaron Jones coming off an injury, but they are quite literally back-to-back in my rankings.
Yeah, I have Aaron Jones a little bit higher, but if you want to go with Javonte because you're a little pessimistic about it, I don't hate you for it.
Yeah, I think generally speaking, good process will lead you to, like, when running backs are coming off of multi-week injuries, they're usually not going to get their full workload. And as good as Aaron Jones is, if he's not getting his full workload, I don't really want to start him as a top 15 running back. I want to start him as like a top 24 running back.
Yep.
Just Incredible says B-Rob, Christian Watson, or David Montgomery in the flex.
Watson.
I think I'll probably wait for Brian Robinson.
Christian Watson.
Watson's on a pitch count. They've already come out and said that. I think I just go Brian Robinson there. He is playing the Eagles though, which is
That's what I'm worried
matchup.
about.
It's if you want to just like trust that 60% of the snaps Christian Watson can get the job done, which he probably could.
I don't mind going B-Rob here. I don't mind.
If this is full PPR, then yeah,
that's
go
why,
Christian Watson.
That's
Maybe
what
half
I'm thinking.
Standard, go with B-Rob.
I'm thinking it's a full PPR here. That's why. If it's a half, easily just go with the running back. Don't even think about it. Scoring opportunity there. But I'd probably still go with B-Rob even in full PPR. It just if you're risk averse, man. If he's playing 60% of the routes, like
I think that's probably what we're looking at tonight.
Yeah. Was Roshan LOL Herbert?
It was
Mostert,
Roshan. He said when we was like, "Who's Roscoe?"
Oh, Roscoe.
Justin Herbert for Mostert. I have Trevor Lawrence. Yeah, I don't want to trade for Mostert right now. He's on the upswing right now. You want to trade for guys that are not coming off of 4 touchdown games. Typically.
Yep. Thoughts on our fellow ACL bro Javonte this week? I absolutely love him. He's a top 15 running back for me.
Yeah, I'm a little nervous he's going to let me down again because he hasn't really produced from a fantasy perspective, but this is the spot that he should get right in.
Yep.
Pittman or Garrett Wilson and a piece for Calvin Ridley. Of the two options, I would prefer to sell Wilson because Wilson probably you require a less impactful piece to get to Ridley. And also, I don't really want to deal with Zach Wilson the rest of the year. I don't know. Do you have a different thought on that?
Maybe
Pittman's more valuable in your league mate's mind just because of the raw fantasy production. I'm not exactly sure.
I would move Pittman before I move Wilson still.
Okay, assuming they're valued the same by your league mate, I would move Pittman. But if your league mate values Wilson higher because he was drafted higher, which I think people will still take into consideration,
I would want to keep Wilson.
No, I would want to keep Wilson too, but I think if it's like Michael Pittman and like a B- piece versus Garrett Wilson and a D+ piece, I would rather do Garrett Wilson.
Okay, yeah.
Because then you get off of the Jets offense as well, too. It's like kind of a side benefit to get to Ridley.
Yeah, I don't hate that. So let's motor through these. You keep track of where we left off in chat at the top. I'll go through the super chats.
Oh yeah, I'm looking at the supers because we got still plenty more.
Watson or Pickens half PPR, leaning Watson. I don't mind going Pickens here to avoid the snap count concerns.
Yeah, I would go with Pickens as well.
Thoughts on Ken Walker, RB1 rest of the season? Worried about Sharp. I think he's a back-end RB1. The problem with him right now is that because he's the RB3 in fantasy, you probably can get top 5 overall value from the position. And looking at his workload, man, like he got sub 50% of the snaps last week, ran 26% of the routes. Yeah, he had 3 catches for 59 yards, but realistically, his target share has been under 10% each of the last 2 weeks. Just so happened that he caught all of his targets and was efficient on them this past week. Like Charbonnet's been working in. People haven't noticed because Walker's been so damn efficient when getting the football, but like that's going to catch up, man. Charbonnet's going to keep getting more work. Their bye week is very early, which is another concern. I don't think many people talk about this, and I get it. There's a certain narrative aspect to it, but we've seen historically, the data proves it, that after the bye week, rookies tend to get more work. Rookie running backs, rookie wide receivers. Rookie wide receivers run more routes. Rookie running backs get a higher percentage of their team snaps. An extra week to learn the playbook, an extra week to feel more comfortable with the team. It makes sense contextually. But if you have Kenneth Walker coming off a 30-point week where he's already at under 50% of the snaps, like you might be able to get Travis Etienne for him, work up to Tony Pollard. Like I keep throwing around the same 2 names, but they're the names that seem the most attainable for the guys I have ranked in my top 5.
Yeah, it's always the same guys. Like, and Stevenson, I don't know if you mentioned him. I was kind of looking at a question on the side here. He's also a pretty good buy using Kenneth Walker. You could probably get Stevenson plus a decent piece.
Jacobs
in exchange for Walker right now.
Might be able to get
Gibbs and Hall too if you're 3-0 or something, and you can handle waiting a little bit on these rookies to develop a little bit. Ander again says, my other running backs are ETN and Kenneth Walker. I have another offer, Kenneth Walker and JSN for CD Lamb and Charbonnet. You absolutely smash accept on that offer. CD Lamb and Charbonnet by a mile.
Ridiculous. Like CD Lamb on his own, man.
Gibbs for Watson and Wilson was the other one. Okay, so which trade do you prefer, I guess?
Can you do both? Well, what's stopping you from doing both?
I mean, I guess you would be down running backs if you traded both Walker and Gibbs.
I guess. I just give me CD Lamb and let me figure it out. Figure it out another time. I would rather.
Yeah, I mean, if you could start like 3 wide receivers and 2 flexes, I'm still fine just like getting Lamb, Wilson, Watson, and being weak at running back. But if it's like a standard like 2 running back, 2 wide receiver, 1 flex or 2 flex league, then yeah, probably just do the CD Lamb trade there.
Yeah, I agree there. Appreciate the super chat. Pick 2 running backs, full PPR, ETN, Jacobs, Jones. You're sitting Jones here, right?
Yeah, I'm sitting Jones there.
Half PPR start 3, Elijah, Watson, Judy, Kirk. So you're sitting one of these guys. You're starting Watson over Elijah, right? Against the Ravens.
That's close. Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I agree there. Especially in a half PPR. Another thing, you want the big play opportunity versus like the PPR threat that Elijah is.
Yeah.
Just because the ADOT, like last
Yeah,
week, yeah,
just
he got
ADOT's so bad right now.
dude. Is he just Cleveland Zay Flowers? Like, is that what he
He's
is right now?
Cleveland Rondale Moore. His last name is Moore, and he might as well
Fair.
change his first name to Rondale.
Trade Watson, Elijah.
He's getting
Moore.
9 targets a game, which is nice, but the air yards are shit right now.
This is an interesting one. Watson, Elijah Moore, and Gainwell or Jacobs? I would say in a deep league, I want the package. In a shallower league, like 2 running backs, 1 flex or whatever, something like that. Give me Jacobs. That's kind of how I view it. Like if it's a 2 wide receiver, 1 flex.
In a shallow league, yeah, you're definitely taking Jacobs, but I don't think Jacobs is as much of a needle mover as he was last year. I think I've said this on numerous occasions so far.
Agreed.
And Watson and Elijah Moore I view as like pretty decent pieces, with Gainwell as like an okay upside option as well. It's not a bad trade. I think in a deeper league, I prefer Jacobs still slightly though.
Yeah, probably agree with that. 10 team, 1 PPR, 2 flex start, 2 DJ Moore, Christian Watson, Elijah Moore, Godwin, London, and Garrett Wilson. Garrett Wilson's the number 1. London's probably the number 2. Oh, him versus Godwin versus the rest is so close. Honest to God, just give me fucking Christian Watson here. I don't want to deal with these other guys.
Yeah, I'm not starting Watson over these guys.
Really?
Yeah, let me see who I have ranked the highest out of this group.
Okay, out of the other ones, I would have Godwin the highest at 35.
Godwin and Garrett are the 2 I have ranked the highest of this group.
Oh, Garrett's the easy one. I'm saying like Watson versus Godwin, given what we've seen from Godwin, is honestly
I mean, we got the Lattimore versus Evans matchup, so Godwin's probably going to be more. He always does well against the Saints when
he's right now. The way he's used is fucking he's used like Florida Jarvis Landry right now.
I know it's gross, but like
I guess he went. Wait, Landry went to Florida though. No,
Landry went to LSU.
LSU. Sorry, who was the slot receiver that was super slow but would get a ton of targets that went to Florida?
Fuck,
I forget.
I don't know.
Why am I thinking? Watch it just be like Justin Shorter or some bullshit like that.
Yeah, I mean Justin Shorter's slow and went to Florida, so
that makes sense. Sorry, that was a little side tangent, but regardless, I don't mind going Garrett and Godwin there.
Yeah, if you want the upside, go Watson and Garrett, but I would probably just go Godwin.
So I'm curious to get your thoughts here. I have Andrews at 3 and Laporte at 4 right now in my rankings.
I have Andrews higher than Laporte still.
Do you have Andrews or Hawkinson higher this week against Cleveland versus
Andrews has the hardest matchup in
the Browns
against tight ends and against all passing games, right? And the Browns are literally posting the best DVOA against the pass in
by far
25 years.
Yeah, it's like not even close, especially after the Cowboys against the Cardinals. It's not even close right now. I have Justin Jefferson, St. Brown, Olave with Tony Walker, Aaron Jones with Cup on IR. What should be my main starts? So I don't know how many you can start in your league, but if I had to rank all of your options, I would go with Jefferson, St. Brown, Olave in that order at wide receiver. And I would go with Tony Pollard, Kenneth Walker, Aaron Jones in that order at running back. Cup, once he figures in, I would put him right after St. Brown, right before Olave, assuming like once he comes back.
Yeah, and if I had to rank all of these guys in totality, it would be Jefferson, Pollard, St. Brown, Olave, Walker, Jones is how I would rank them.
Agree with that. Appreciate the super chat, Jeremiah. PPR, Montgomery or Miles Sanders? I believe I have Sanders higher. Yeah, surely I do. He plays fucking
I have Sanders higher. Like Sanders had a pretty good workload so far. He's been
and he plays Minnesota this week.
Not like anything special, nor is the Panthers offense, but he's
RB2.
Solid. Yeah.
Play Love over Burrow. I have Burrow slightly higher, but
I'm not.
I honestly wouldn't.
If you're not playing Burrow against the Tennessee Titans, who are giving it up to the aforementioned Sean Watson bounce back game came against Tennessee. So
100%. At the end of the day, I have Burrow lower than I usually have him. Like I have him in that high quarterback 2 range rather than the quarterback 1 range because I'm worried about the calf.
I have him at 5, dude. I don't give a fuck.
You got some balls there, brother.
I don't care about the calf injury against Tennessee, dude. They literally they're gonna get toasted.
Let's make our first bet of the week then. I will take Tua to your Joe Burrow if you have Tua rank lower.
I do. I'm at 6.
Give me Tua then. Give me the best offense in the league. Let's go.
Yeah, hey, against one of the best defenses in the league. Against
Kudos, high over under.
Yeah, oh yeah, very high over under. I think I like the under though, to be honest. The
Probably,
sharps like the over, but 54 points. I'm like, dude, that's a lot of points, man.
A lot of points.
But I mean, the fucking Dolphins cover that in 1 week on
they
their
might do that on their own, bro. They might cover it on their own.
Full PPR. Also, I rewatched the game in 40 of the Broncos and Dolphins game. Dude, I swear to God, I could have tackled better than the Broncos did.
Oh yeah, no, it was pathetic.
I'm probably one of those. I'd be like the worst tackler in NFL history, like statistically. But I think I might have done a better job than the Broncos secondary in that game.
A question that I have for you here: Are you sitting Madison or Addison? You're sitting Addison, right? This week,
full PPR.
It's close, man. Carolina.
I want the receiver. This passing game is so explosive, dude. I'm sitting.
You're obviously going Javonte as your one here.
Yeah, I'm sitting Madison, I think.
Yeah, that's
I want the pass catcher in this offense, honestly.
Yeah, plus 2 if Addison catches a touchdown and like Alexander Madison goes 15 for 33 with like 2 catches on 4 targets for 7 yards. That seems like such an Alexander Madison line, and you would not forgive yourself for starting him over Addison if that happened. So I don't blame you there.
Yeah, no, that wouldn't shock me. I have a season-long pick 'em up for one of my best ones so far here is that I have Jordan Addison higher than 4.5 receiving touchdowns, and he already has 2 receiving touchdowns, which is nice.
I'm kind of a freak that
that same one has a lower on Cooper Kupp 1,325 receiving yards, and he's going to miss 4 games, obviously. So I don't think
you have to admit, I'm kind of a freak for that. How did I remember his receiving yards prop like just off the bat like that?
Yeah, well, and I also have this one's like looking really promising because I have higher Amon-Ra 1,000 receiving yards. He literally has like 300 yards already.
Yeah, he's gonna crush that.
Kupp lower 1,300 receiving yards. He's literally not playing right now. Higher, this is the one that's sketchy. Higher Jahan Dotson 4 receiving touchdowns, but Jahan Dotson had like 7 in 12 games last year, and then lower Treylon Burks 825.5 receiving yards.
Smash.
And then higher Jordan Addison 4.5 receiving touchdowns, and he has 2 already. So
yeah, you're hitting that.
I think that should hit. That's a $500 pick 'em there on a $20 bet.
Skyborn, Robert Justice, Jalen Pacheco start 2. I'm assuming this is Robert Woods. Probably go with Woods and Pacheco.
I think I'm going the last 2, Jalen Warren and Isaiah Pacheco.
Full PPR. Are you going? You're going Jalen over Woods?
Yeah, probably.
I probably agree, to be honest.
The Steelers have the Texans this week, who you do not pass against, but you can run against.
Walker for Gibbs and Cook. Yes, give me Gibbs and Cook.
Dude, I could make the argument. Well, I mean, I have Gibbs rated over Walker straight up, but I could actually make the argument for Cook over Walker rest of season.
Yeah. A-Chain, Dell, Watson, full PPR. You have to sit one. Do you start Dell over Watson knowing that the snaps?
Yeah, I do. I have him ranked over him.
Respectable.
I think it's actually closer between A-Chain and Watson than it is between Dell and Watson.
Well, I have A-Chain in my top 20.
I have him in my top 20 as well, but generally speaking, I'd say like top 30 wide receivers is like usually higher than my like running back 19, 20 area in full PPR.
I'm sorry, but when did we ever did we ever think we'd be having 2 Dolphins in our top 20 running backs?
I don't know, dude. Maybe it's an overreaction for what they put out this past week, but like, dude, they're gonna have another massively high scoring game total, and the Bills are a run funnel defense also. Yep. So, and like
we saw what the Jets did on them in week 1.
15 touches a game out of Raheem Mostert and Devon A-Chain each. Like 4 of every 6 games, they're going to be like back end RB1s on the week. Like, yep. I don't know, dude. I think that the offense is just that explosive. They're going to be in the red zone that often.
Who are you sitting here between Jones, Nico, and Judy? Probably Nico.
I'm going to sit Nico. I think.
I agree. London or Gabe Davis rest of the season. I think I would take London. Actually, I mean, I could check my rankings right now.
I would take London, but I think that's disgusting that we're asking this question, but I actually don't hate if you wanted to take Davis, because as like a pure flex option, Davis is like
I have London a good amount
in your flex, man. Like he's just going to give you a good week every 3 games.
I have London a good bit higher, so I would take
I do.
London
I have him higher as well, but like
a good bit.
Gabe Davis is like a very solid flex option. Like if you
Like,
guys play in deep leagues with like 3 wide receivers and 2 flexes, I think Gabe Davis is like one of maybe not a buy low candidate because he's coming off of 2 weeks that are good, but wait till he has like some down games and then maybe buy low on him then because I do
yep.
think he's like a perfect flex
Let's.
option in deep leagues.
I agree. So let's smash out some of the early questions and then get out of here because it's currently 8:11. So
yeah, so we're going all the
let
way
me-
back to 7:17 p.m. Apologies for anybody who's been waiting this long to get their question answered, but we really appreciate all of the super chats,
Yep.
of course. And like I know some people are always like, "Oh, you gotta like super chat to get your question answered." I'm like, we only go to the super chats because you guys keep leaving them, so we really do appreciate all the support.
Yep.
Diego says, "Hey guys, I'm a rebuilding 1-year punt dynasty team, and I got a trade offering me Isaiah Pacheco for a 2nd-round pick. What would you do?" In a rebuild, I mean, I'd probably just take the 2, assuming it's like mid to late even. Would you take a mid to late 2 for a Pacheco, or would you want more than that?
Mid to late 2, yeah. I'm cashing for that.
In a rebuild, like get the points off your team. Honestly, like
yeah.
I'm fine just doing it for that reason.
Yep, and real quick, actually, with ER, he said only pick one of them. So if you have to pick one, are you doing Judy or Jones?
Who are the Broncos playing?
I'm
this
doing
week?
Jones. They're playing the Bears.
Oh, yeah, I'm doing Judy, dude. They're playing the Bears.
Fair. I mean, I do think it's close for the record. I have Judy as my wide receiver 26, and I have Jones as inside my top 15 running backs. I have him right now as. So
also, I just realized the second part of Diego's question. He said I recently got Quentin Johnston for a 3rd and a 4th.
What the fuck?
And he said and Josh Kelly in a 2nd for a 1st. I hope you sold Kelly.
You got the 1st, right? Please tell me you
didn't buy Josh Kelly for that. But he said he's rebuilding, so I don't know why he would trade for Josh Kelly.
Yeah, and ER, we got you. Hopefully you got that.
Rolando, what's going on? Sup? RB2, Mostert or Ramondre Stevenson? I'm going
Raheem
Mostert.
the Dream, baby. I ain't starting
Raheem.
Ramondre against the Cowboys.
Yeah. Sit 1, Thielen, Pittman. I'm sitting Thielen. I'll start Pittman there. And then sit 1, Collins, Palmer, and Michael Thomas. I'll sit Thomas there as well. Jorge
Tank.
or Jim says full PPR, Tank Dell or Marquise Brown. I'm going Tank Dell.
With ease. Like not close for me.
Yeah. Full PPR, need 1 wide receiver, 1 running back, and 1 flex. Kendrick Bourne, Drake London, Jahan Dotson, Dobbs, A-Chain, Ford, Brian Robinson. So A-Chain and Ford are in my lineup as the RB and the flex. And then wide receiver, like the wide receiver spot, I'm probably going to go Drake London, but I'm not feeling great about it.
Yeah, I agree there. That's exact 3 I would go with. Would you trade Judy for Javonte?
Judy for Javonte, full PPR. If you're in need of running back help, I think that's a fine trade to make.
Same tier. I like that transition again if you need running back.
Redraft full PPR trade. I trade away Jerome Ford and Dotson for Judy.
I would aim a little bit higher because Ford had a big week. Ford had a big week.
The only thing that I'm like hesitant on is that maybe you could get somebody better. Like Watson, for example, if he has another down game this week. Because he hasn't played yet. But I think it's a decent trade at face value. I just think you might be able to get a better piece for Jerome Ford. Should I start Love or Burrow in a point per completion league? Give me Burrow, dude. He throws the ball more than Jordan Love.
Yeah.
Was offered T-Law and Bijan for Hurts and DK.
Smash.
I would take Trevor Lawrence and Bijan over Hurts and DK. As much as I love Hurts and he's an awesome player, I believe Trevor Lawrence will bounce back and Bijan Robinson is Bijan Robinson.
Okay, so
especially
looking at it
given your running back situation that you have listed.
If you were to redraft fantasy today, Hurts is a 3rd-round pick. DK is maybe a an early 4th.
I think Hurts probably belongs to go in the mid-2nd to late 2nd where he was going.
No, I like more 2-3 turns. So like I see.
Yeah, like where he was going, I think is exactly where he would go in a redraft.
Bijan goes in the top 5.
Yeah.
So that alone, like a 3rd and like a 3-4 turn, should be about
for Trevor Lawrence, who would go in like the 7th round, probably. He hasn't been great, but I think he'll bounce back. And then Metcalf, obviously, he'd be like a 3rd, 4th round pick as well.
Yep.
Full PPR, Quentin Johnston, Christian Watson, or Jordan Addison. So for me, I would go Addison pretty easily here, just given the snap count.
I'm gonna lower Watson.
I want to wait a week on Watson if I can. If Watson was 100%, I would start Watson, but I would go Addison.
I was gonna lower Watson. I guess I cannot. So the game did start.
Oh, true. Game's
so
already
we got
on.
locked in
All right.
at 30, but yeah.
Last question we'll get to here from Jackson. He says, "Hey, chat, Godwin, Watson, or Monty full PPR." I mean, I would go Godwin there. Hopefully, you did not put Watson or Montgomery into your lineup, but Watson versus Godwin's relatively a wash. So Anyways, appreciate you guys for joining us. Again, appreciate all the super chats. If you guys left one, leave a like on the stream, subscribe if you're new around here. Stay tuned. Danny will have wide receiver tier list tomorrow. I will have running back tier list on Saturday as well. And tons of other content going on. Our dynasty rankings have gone through a massive overhaul, massive upgrade. The dynasty rankings manifesto is being rehauled and rehashed, and that will be on the site flockfantasy.com probably by tomorrow, if not Saturday at the latest. So definitely stay tuned for that. And then after that's already updated and ready to go, I think I'm going to get started on my early official 2024 rankings for the prospects too. So if you guys play Dynasty, definitely want to stay tuned for that. I'll put in some relevant stats and what I've seen from these guys and that kind of stuff.
Projected draft capital, maybe.
That kind of stuff will be a mini, maybe a mini rookie rankings manifesto or something like that. We use the word manifesto around here a lot, so I might as well stick to the trend for sure.
We love it.
But anyways, enjoy the game. Hopefully you guys get a lot of fantasy points, and hopefully you don't have a lot of fantasy points scored on you. Cheers.
Cheers.